Hi, my name is Barry Bowers. I'm here to talk a little bit about my carving journey, and I just want to welcome you to the International Association of Woodcarvers.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is September the 7th, 2024, a little bit after 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We want to welcome you all to the International Association of Woodcarvers. Today on our meeting, we're going to have Barry Bowers coming to us. He's going to talk a little bit about his wood carving journey and classes and things he's got coming up. Before we get into all that we have to talk about today, I'm going to go ahead and bring on our very own Dave Stetson. He's got some words of wisdom for us, and he's going to go ahead and share that. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Dave.
Listen, just share with you today. Perfection. Perfection is not attainable. It's really not. But if we chase perfection, we can catch excellence.
All right, Dave. Thank you for that. We appreciate it. I always appreciate when you come in and share with us. So I thank you for doing that, my friend, and I hope things are good with you and your family at this time. Before we get started, I want to tell you a little bit about the Carving the Rockies show. Everybody knows probably from our meetings that Carving the Rockies show is coming up next weekend. That's put on by the CCA. It's going to be out in Colorado Springs. Hope everybody can make it out there. If you're not able to make it, I did want to tell you one thing. I talked to Chris Hammock this morning. He asked me to share this. We're going to do something a little different this year that we haven't done in the past couple of years. We're going to live stream onto the CCA Facebook page the demos that they're doing, as well as the whittling competition. So we're going to live stream a demo at noon on Saturday. It'll be PJ Driscoll. At 3 p.m., we're going to have Bob Hershey on. That's on Saturday. On Sunday, the 15th, Chris Hammock's going to be doing a demo at 11 a.m. And then the whittling competition is going to be from 1 until 2:30 on that Sunday. So if you all want to tune in and you're not able to make the show, make sure you go on Facebook. It'll be on the CCA Facebook page. We'll be going live there. We'll be talking all about what's going on out there, as well as showing the demonstrations and the competition. So try to tune into that if you're not able to make it out there. Hopefully that will encourage you to come out if you're not able to make it this year. So just want to tell you all about that. I'll be advertising that during the week this week to remind everybody. I'll also send out an advertisement on Saturday morning and Sunday morning on social media so everybody can see that, so that hopefully you'll participate in that. Tell you a little bit about our schedule that we've got coming up. Again, next weekend we'll be out at the CCA show, so check out, like I said, the Facebook pages. On the 21st of September, our very own Dave Stetson is going to come on and do a demonstration. He's got a class that's coming up on the flying witch. He's going to be talking a little bit about that class and doing a demonstration. So that's the 21st of September. On the 5th of October, we've got Ashton Brown coming back from Badger State Blades. She's going to be coming in talking about some new tools that they're developing. They've mainly made knives, I think some number 3 gouges. She's got some other stuff coming up, so we look forward to having her back in. On the 12th of October, we've got David Young. And then on the 19th of October, Rich Emling from the United Kingdom is going to come back in and do a Halloween demonstration. So we look forward to having all those meetings coming up. We're going to be working hard to try to fill the schedule through the end of the year. We appreciate you all coming back after we've been off a little bit through the summer. And we look forward to having a great year of sharing wood carving with you all, and hopefully encouraging you all to get involved, take some classes, and go to some of the shows. So as far as workshops go, there's some workshops that are coming up that I wanted to tell you about. September the 3rd and September the 17th, Dwayne's going to be doing a caricature carving demonstration, Dwayne Gosnell, or class, I'm sorry. On October the 5th, Dave Stetson will start his Flying Witch class. On October the 24th, Dwayne Gosnell will be doing a trippy hippie caricature. On November the 2nd, Del Green, who I saw is on today, is going to be doing a Santa class called Kringle. Janet Cordell on November the 4th is going to be doing a doll carving class. And again, Dwayne Gosnell on November the 12th is going to be doing a Babushka Santa. All of these things are out on Woodcarving Academy under their workshops. So you can go out there and see what's available. You actually need to contact the instructor to get signed up. So I encourage you to go out and look at those things. If there's a class that I've mentioned today that you're interested in, like Dave's class or Dale's, one of the ones that's coming up, reach out to them and get signed up so you can make sure you get involved in that. So that's some things that are coming up, some shows that are coming up. The Big Stone Gap Show in Virginia is coming up in September on the 21st. There's a Sevierville, Tennessee show in October, Huntsville, Alabama show in November. Just a lot of things going on this fall. So make sure you go out, participate in some of those shows, enter some carvings, and help support those groups. Again, today on the meeting, we've got Barry Bowers. Barry's going to be sharing with us. He's planning on coming out to Colorado Springs. So again, if anybody's going to be out there, you'll be able to come out and say hello to him. Dave Levy and I will both be out there as well. We'll have a table set up. We'll be selling some of our hats. We'll have some carvings and some rough outs and things there. Some stickers to give away and our business cards and things like that. So make sure you stop by and tell us hello. Before I start with Barry, one other thing I want to share with you. We're going to be doing a knife auction like we usually do on our meeting today. This knife auction will go to benefit the International Association of Woodcarvers so that we can pay for our Zoom subscription to continue to have these meetings. Today we have this Helvey knife. It's autographed by Dale Green. It's one of his signature series knives. Again, I saw Dale on the meeting today. I believe it's about a 2-inch blade. Again, made by Helvey, Rich Smithson, Holly Smithson. So we're going to take bids in the chat for that. High bid will win, and I'll call that auction at the end of the meeting. So if you're interested in winning that knife, it's a great opportunity to get your hands on the Helvey right now when they're a little harder to get due to Holly's medical situation. And we're hoping to see Rich and Holly out in Colorado Springs next weekend. But again, if you can't get out there, now's a good time to be able to get your hands on a great carving knife. So bid on that during the chat. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Barry Bowers. Barry, we're happy to have you on today, and we look forward to hearing what you have to share with us.
Well, thanks. It's good to be here. So Blake approached me and asked me to just talk about my carving journey, which is probably a little bit like a lot of people's, but anyway, we'll talk about it today. I started carving in 1995. Had a really good friend that was pretty much twisted my arm into giving it a try, tried to convince me how relaxing it was. I could not imagine that, but he was right, I had to admit. But at the time, it was a rec center class. We met kind of like in semesters. There was a fall semester, then we had a break, and then we had a spring, and then a break, and then a summer. So we met, and the carvings that you see, I want to switch over, Dave, so the taller carving is my very first carving. My friend asked me, well, what do you like? Well, at the time, my wife and I were really into Southwest art. And so he came up with this cigar store Indian. And a few years later, I looked back and I thought that was probably exactly the opposite thing that I should have ever started, or anybody should have. It had a face, it had hands, it had feathers. And I never did finish it, as you can see, but I've kept it. And then the one beside it is almost 25 years later, I did that one in a class with PJ Driscoll. So when I saw he had that rough out, I thought it was kind of a fun way to circle back to the cigar store Indian idea. But that's how I started. The part that impressed me about carving at the time was, it was just our local group then, but just how friendly everybody was, how eager they were to share, how helpful everybody was. There was no competition necessarily between anyone, and the best carvers were just willing to sit down and share anything they knew with a guy like me that was starting out. And so that kind of always has stuck with me, and try to be that way as much as I can. So that kind of evolved. And then, the first several years, I tell people I learned self-taught to some degree, which really probably wasn't the greatest plan, because it took me a while to undo some of those habits. But these two pieces were just a couple local classes, guys in our club that would have a Saturday seminar. The wizard was out of a catalpa branch, which was kind of interesting. It's a little stringier than basswood, but so faces were a mystery to me. I went through a phase where I told somebody I was either going to figure out how to carve a face or I was going to start carving Amish carvings, because it just was, I struggled a lot, like a lot of people do, I guess, with faces, trying to get them to lay out right. And so about, I think, somewhere around 2000, Wichita, Kansas used to always have a show every year that I'd go to in May, and Gerald Sears was there. I met Gerald, and I bet I carved almost every rough out he had at the time. The couple Santas and are pretty crude now when I look at them today, but the clown Santa was, I had an aunt that was, she was a big fan of clowns, and she was a big K-State fan. So I found a way to kind of put those two together. But that was probably the first time I tried to take a rough out and make it my own, I guess. But I really like Gerald's designs, for especially as a carver at that beginning stage. But again, I was doing them on my own, and just trying to figure out how to make that work. And I taught myself a lot of bad habits, probably. Tried to work through some of those. I had some class opportunities. Rex Branson came to a community. I'm in the middle of Kansas, so it's if you're going to go to a class, it's going to be some distance usually, but every once in a while there was one fairly close. A town about 45 miles away from here had gotten a grant of some sort, and so they brought Rex Branson in to do a seminar. So I did it. It was more of a realistic class. That piece is in butternut too. That was kind of an experience because the butternut had been injected with epoxy to fill all the little wormholes in it. Epoxy and carving don't go well together, so that was a little challenge, but it was fun. I enjoyed working at it. I took a class, probably the next one was from Gerald Copeland. Again, that was in Kansas. It's kind of over in eastern Kansas, but Gerald's realistic. I think I was a challenge for him because I just about took the nose clear off of this guy before he got it around to help me with it, but he somehow salvaged it, I guess. But that was about the time Gerald stopped doing actual seminars. I was hoping it wasn't because of me, but that was it was a good class. He's an amazing carver. I learned a lot from him. And then I did a class about that same time with Stu Martin. Stu's from Kansas here, and again, more of a realistic carver. But so we did this Santa, and that was a good experience too. You know, every time you take a class, you learn something. You know, whether it's a different tool or a technique. Everybody does hair differently, how they texture it or how they form it. So it was interesting. Realistic though, carving really was tough. I guess it was very, in my mind, it was kind of stressful because it was so precise, and I didn't have that. I guess about that era, I went down to Oklahoma and carved with the bishops. I really think that was probably the turning point for me in carving. The shorter Santa is the very first one I did, carved with Vicky Bishop that year. I think it was 2005, and I just really enjoyed the that whole style, caricature style, the learning how they painted and finished, and you know, the different details, and it was just, and you know, having Phil and Vicky both there as teachers was kind of like a win-win, because you just had twice the instructor time because they just rotated around. So we actually had them come to our local club at that point, was big enough to pull off seminars, and so we had them come to Great Bend in 2007, I think it was, and that's when I did the taller Santa, the reddish one with a curly beard. And again, it was just a really good experience, and I think from that point on, I kind of gravitated towards caricatures. I like the concept, and I enjoy humor. So a lot of my carvings, I kind of try to play with that or tell a story, usually in a humorous fashion. So, but Phil and Vicky had a big impact on carving, my carving, and kind of what direction I went. And I mentioned that we had our carving club here in Great Bend is kind of, we call it a club. I tell people we call it a club only because I don't know what else to call it. But, we meet on Thursday nights. Now we moved from the rec center after a few years where I started, and because we wanted to carve year round. And for the first, 5-6 years, we carved Thursday nights from 7 to 9. It was probably the only time I carved. I was self-employed at the time. 2 years after I started, I went back to school to finish my degree. And so that 2 hours a week was about all I really had. So, and that kind of hampered progress too, but we had a good sized group. And so for several years, we were able to bring people in. We brought bishops in, like I mentioned. This is Mark Gargak. He's from Colorado. He came in and did a class. I think that was 2010. And then we had Randy Landon is just up the road from us a couple hours. And he came in 2011 and did a class for us. This is the piece I did with his Road Rash, which was a lot of fun. Randy's a lot of fun to carve with, and learned a lot from him and his finishing style. In 2013, I believe, was the first year that we had Chris Hammock come to Great Bend and did a class. And I don't honestly remember how we got connected with Chris, but if you've ever carved with Chris, that's an experience, just him himself, let alone the carving. So in 2016, he was in Texas then, and I did this piece, and that was the very first design class I did, my grill guy. And I did a couple classes, did that one, and we went down the next year and did the design class while he was still, that was just the years right before he moved to Mexico. But that was probably the best thing that I ever did. It kind of broke me out of just doing rough outs, broke down the phobia of thinking I couldn't draw my own patterns, or just all those things that you rattle around, or at least in my mind, that I just thought that was above and beyond me. I've never considered myself real artistic, but I think I've learned at least to draw well enough to make a pattern, crude as it is. I'll show you some of those when we get to them. But I did this piece. I did the clay with Rich Weatherby. I did that at the Renegade down in Lebanon, Tennessee, and then the next year, or after I got home anyway, I used the clay to create a pattern and do the carving selfie is what I call that one. So that was I was back at the Renegade, I guess it was the next year, and I got the CCA Merit Award with that one. So I'm pretty proud of that one. It was a fun challenge for sure. The clay class, amazing. I've done that a couple of times with Rich, and I think that's a good tool. I don't always take the time to do that, but it's a neat way to make a pattern for yourself, work out some of the issues that you might have on a carving, and then have a go by to kind of sit beside you and carve when you're working it out. So it's good practice. Talked about patterns. I don't draw very well. I think I'm a little better than what I was before, but I've done things as simple as, this is one of those articulated mannequins. So I tried that a few times, and I'll take it and try to get the pose that I want. And then copy machines are wonderful things, because then you can shrink it or enlarge it however tall you want the piece to be, and then at least use that to draw around the edge to create a pattern front and side profile. Chris's method of using lined paper is what I've tried. And then this guy, little squatty leg guy, I don't remember what that was for, but drawing it out, that the lines on the paper truly make it easy to keep things at least in line. Your waist, your shoulders, kind of the main key points from front to side. And I always end up oversizing my cutout, and then it just makes more chips, I guess. But I always want to make sure I leave plenty of wood, and then as I'm trying to take that all off, I cuss myself sometimes. But so I think, you know, that when people are starting out, I hear people say that a lot, that I don't draw or I'm not an artist, and I'm right there with you. But I think you can work around that if you just take some time, whether it's with clay or or trying to draw it out on lined paper. You know, there's a lot of ways you can. Got some of my what I'll call newer carvings. This guy I did get a lot of ideas off Pinterest. Honestly, people ask that sometimes. You know, you see a picture or a cartoon or um, and once you click on one thing on Pinterest, then you're going to see 100 of the same thing. So then it's kind of fun to see the different variations or different styles. But this guy is, I guess, would be a bust, but I just thought, it was kind of humorous. I took Jim Heiser's method of making straw and put hair in his ears, and just it was just fun. Ended up looking for it. It looks like a person that I worked for. Actually, that wasn't the intention, but his son saw the picture on Facebook and thought I'd done his dad on purpose. So I don't know if that's flattering or not, I guess. But this guy, the one that I just did this last year, was just, we were out at a 4th of July event, fireworks display, and there was a deal honoring veterans, and kind of where the idea came from. But it was fun. It's a fun challenge, by the time you try to draw the pattern, get it cut out, and then actually try to make it look like the idea that's in your head. That's the challenge of it all. Somehow the frustration and challenge of carving is what makes it relaxing. I haven't quite figured that out, that phenomenon, but that's what it feels like. This little gnome was one that I did. My wife, gnomes were the thing the last year or two, so kind of created that one for her, and know that she gets first dibs on pretty much everything I do. So that's one that she kept. And then this guy, Santa on a scooter, was another thing I saw, kind of that idea on Pinterest one time, and thought that was kind of a fun way to see. I like Santa Claus. I don't know. I kind of just gravitated towards Santas. I enjoy Santa because he can be anything. He can be a more traditional Santa, but he could be a farmer or a cowboy or just about anything in the middle is awesome. Santas are kind of fun, and it seems like I end up doing a lot of them. But and then this last year, I've gone to the Utah Roundup, Rocky Mountain Roundup, 4 years, I guess, all 4 now. But this piece was did with Chris in the design class I did it the last 2 years I was out there. This is the one I did this year. So it's another picture I saw. It was actually a drawing that someone had done with a real old world looking Santa on a moose, and I'd never carved a moose or a horse, and so I thought, well, that was a fun way to go at that. And, it was a fun challenge. So the piece that I did a couple years before that in Utah was this checker game, and it was a Chris Hammock design class. And it was a fun scene. It was a calendar picture that I'd seen where it was an old lady playing with a kid, and kind of turned it into this. Chris gave me a hard time, and continues to, that I should have made carved little chess pieces instead of using checkers, but I vetoed that idea pretty quick with that. But it's so that's kind of my journey, I guess you'd say. Like I said, I think I caricature carving has kind of turned into my go-to style, and I think I enjoy Santas the most. I've got a shot back to my screen there, these are the rough outs I have, and you notice that they're all Santa Clauses, but I'll have them in Colorado. Honestly, up to this point, I've pretty much just had rough outs made for my own use. I sell some Santas mostly there's a local store that does consignments. I've had carvings there for, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, and Santas do pretty well. Rough outs are probably not the best economics, but they make it faster for me to carve, I guess. And I've tried to design them to where I can do some changes and variations in the hats and a little bit of the, whether their eyes are open or closed or some different things like that. But so I'll have them in Colorado if somebody's interested. I'll have them there, and I'm actually going to do a class in North Dakota at the middle of October. The flicker tail wood carvers. I have to learn what flicker tail, where that came from, I guess. But they have a seminar class combination that I'm going to do the class. That it'll be an all-day Friday class, and then Saturday and Sunday that it's a half-day class each morning, and then the other half in the afternoon is a show, so that's open to the public. So that'll be kind of a fun thing to do, I think, and we'll carve some Santa Clauses. Hopefully, it won't be snowing on us the middle of October in North Dakota. Yes, but so carving wise, that's my story. I don't know that that's is any more different than anyone else's, but the other thing I'd really like to talk about is sometime last year I became part of the National Association of Woodcarvers Board, which most all of us would probably just recognize that as Chip Chats because that's the magazine that the association puts out. But there's a couple of things going on there that I think worth highlighting is a few months ago, we put out on the website, which is just chipchats.org. There's logo items. So we got the National Association logo on hats and shirts and sweatshirts, and let's make a little bit of money on those, but it's just a good way to promote carving and get the association name out there. But the other thing that's going on there that I'm kind of excited about is we decided to have a national ornament carving contest. And so that was it's been out on Facebook, and it was in kind of a little blurb, a teaser in the last Chip Chats, the next issue that's on its way out. I think in early October we'll have more details, but the idea is pretty simple. Is we're just going to collect ornaments anybody can injure. They're all sending them to right here in Great Bend, Kansas. So we'll receive them here. Randy Landon has graciously agreed to be our judge, and there's going to be prizes: the first, second, and third. It's like $200 for first place, $100 for second, and $50 for third. So they'll all be judged, but then every carving or every ornament that doesn't win first, second, or third will be in a drawing for prizes. And we've got a Helvey knife, razor tip wood burner, we've got gift certificates from 2 or 3 tool vendors. Flex Cuts donated 10 knives plus some extra cash. So there's lots of opportunities for people to win. But then the cool part, I think anyway, is that when we're all done, all the ornaments are going to be sent to, we've got about 6 charities so far. They're like children's hospitals or cancer centers, kind of all geared towards kids. But we're going to donate the ornaments to these facilities to give to their patients in time for Christmas. So we wanted to kind of bless them with the ornaments, hopefully get a little bit of press out of it for the carving in general and the Carving Association. So that's coming up. You can enter as many times as you want. The deadline to receive the carving is November 1st, so there's still plenty of time if you want to send one in. And if you just go either to Facebook, the Chip Chats Facebook page, or the chipchats.org on the website, the information is out there too if you've got questions, or they'll tell you where to send the carving and all that. But I think it'll be fun. We've got actually have about 12 ornaments already here, so it's started off pretty good for being this early, I think. So we're excited about that. First ever. Hopefully we'll be able to grow and make it even bigger next year. We're certainly learning as we go, so see what we can add to that and make it better next year. So out of words. I don't know if anybody has questions, or I'm certainly happy to share anything I can.
Hey, Barry, can you take a few minutes and talk a little bit about your painting technique and how you finish your carvings? I know that's something that a lot of people like to hear, and everybody does it a little different. So can you share that?
Yeah, I started out actually using oil paints. We had a quarter paint dealer here in Great Bend that would actually mix quarter pint wood stain to any color you want. Um, and then that's just what several of the people here in our club did. So that's what I did until I went to the bishop seminar, and that's where I got kind of introduced to watered down acrylics. And so I use their pretty much their method. I clean my carving first. I use simple green, spray it down. I'm not soaking it, but just getting clean it up, get the pencil marks off, or anything like that. And then I use the little paint tray, the little dimple tray kind of thing, and I'll use probably 4, 5, 6 drops, depending on the color of paint, to that however much is in that little dimple of water. So it's pretty thin. I'll use a little bit darker shade, or something to shade it in. But so I paint, and I paint wet. I clean the carving, I paint, and then once it's dry, I have used linseed oil, which is what they've done. About 2 years ago, that I switched to walnut oil. It seems like it's a little less. It doesn't smell as bad for one thing, but I'm hoping that it doesn't age or yellow as bad as linseed oil. It's only happened on a few carvings, but it does seem to age with the time. But so I paint, I dry, let it dry, I oil it, and then I spray it with Def Satin, and then I'm done. So I don't do a lot of antiquing. I do more shading when I paint, but it's very thin. I like to be able to see the grain through the wood, and I want people to know it's a wood carving piece.
And will you have, you said you'll have your rough outs in Colorado Springs. Will you have any carvings with you as well?
Oh, sure. Yes, I will. Yeah, I've got a few carvings. I mean, a few of the rough outs carved for each one, and then I've got some other carvings that I'll bring, and some just for display. But yeah, you bet. We'll have a table. I had a table there 2 years ago, and last year I did the seminars. This year I'm going to do a table again. So yeah, we'll have a display.
Okay. And any other plans, I guess, for rough outs? You said you have the 4 that you have so far. Are you going to get more made, or do you know?
I'm always thinking, I guess, but so I've got the 4 that I can make into 5 carvings, because one of them can either be a Santa or a gnome. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see what's next. I guess got a couple other ideas, but I do income taxes that's how I pay for my hobby, I guess. So I carve like crazy this time of year, and then about December I run out of time for about 4 months. So it's kind of that's where I think more, I guess. I tell people, since I'm an accountant, that this is how I use the other side of my brain, is when I carve.
So on the ornament competition for National Association of Woodcarvers, are there any restrictions on that? Does it just need to be an ornament? It doesn't matter if it's a Santa or whatever, or does it have to be a Santa?
Yeah, it can be any kind of ornament. It just has to be. It has to either have a hook or a string on it, so it can be hung. So it's got to be an ornament. But no, the theme or the style, none of that doesn't matter. So we've had people ask about like wood turned ornaments or even wood burned ones, and we're okay as long as it has some carving on it, I guess. Also, but yeah, so far the 12 that we've got in so far are really very diverse as far as this style goes. So some are real traditional, some are more cartoony, that kind of thing. But yeah, so anything. They're going to kids, so I guess but there'll be all ages of kids too. So I think that's it. The charities so far that we've got lined up are really excited about this concept. The plan is we'll have them here November 1st. We'll get them judged as quickly as we can after that, and get them back out hopefully by mid-November or so, second, third week in November, so they'll have them in plenty of time. And so I think it's kind of neat neat idea. So neat way to share carving with some people that could use a little lift. So
And you said the deadline's November 1st, is that right?
yeah, November 1st is the deadline to get it to us, so that gives us that time to do the judging and get it turned around. Probably a little crowded this year. You know, it was kind of I won't say half baked, but it was definitely a new idea. Probably 60 days later than we should have started, but I think with the magazine and Facebook, hopefully we'll get the word out enough to where we've had several clubs respond, where the clubs are kind of working together so they can box them up, you know, send us 10 or 20 or whatever in one box, kind of help with the postage, and that's fine. We need each ornament needs to include the name of the carver, an address, email. We have some way to contact you if you win one of the drawing items, so we can get your prize to you. So.
All right. Does anybody else have any questions in the room for Barry at this point? And Barry, you said you're going to be teaching in North Dakota. You have any other classes lined up besides that one at this point, or is that
No,
the only one on your schedule?
So far, that's all we're doing. We'll do a beginner's class in the middle of Kansas this winter. Probably we usually do one in kind of early December. So we'll see about that.
Okay. I'm looking in the chat. I don't see any other questions. I will say I look forward to seeing you out in Colorado. It should be a good time, and we're going to have a table out there as well, so maybe we'll be close by to each other.
Yeah.
It'll be a good opportunity to catch up, and I'll be interested to see what rough outs and stuff that you bring along with you. Are there specific kinds of tools that you like to use? I did want to ask that.
Yeah, I don't. I like Helvy's knife. I like the flex blade. Got a couple of Chris's knives, but then I've got just a couple of their flex blades. I've used them almost exclusively for about 10 or 12 years. I really like their knife. Tool wise, almost everything I have in my toolbox is Drake. And I don't know, I just kind of gravitated towards those several years ago. I really like the bevel on them. They seem to hold an edge really well. So got a few Swiss tools, a couple V tools and stuff that I kind of like, but Drake kind of has turned into my tool of choice. So I'm kind of glad I have all of mine because they're hard to get now. But yeah, that's kind of what I like them. Mostly they are very good quality and hold an edge very well, and I really have never had a problem with them. So that's kind of my rule of thumb is, I guess, the less time I have sharpening or buffing, the better. I'd rather just carve. So.
Hey, Barry, somebody was asking in the chat as well. What was that website again for the ornament?
That's chipchats.org.
And you said that's also the same as the Facebook page is Chip Chats as well.
Yeah, it's just Chip Chats on Facebook. Now, if you're on Facebook, there are two Chip Chat pages. One of them has like 1,500 followers, and the other one has, I don't know, 6,000 or 7,000. It's the bigger of the two. I don't know what the other one got set up somewhere along the line, but that's not the official one. But yeah, just Chip Chats. If you search it that way, most everybody knows that. Nobody knows what the National Woodcarvers Association is if you just say that without tagging Chip Chats on it. So yeah.
And are you all, sorry, Barry, are you all still producing the magazine?
Absolutely. Yeah, it still comes out 4 times a year. We increased the page count the last 2 issues. We're going to kind of keep that on track. So yeah, we're still doing the magazine. Absolutely, good product. It's just, kind of trying to partially make awareness of the association. And the association was really founded, seems like, from what history I've seen, is it was kind of centered around promoting clubs and communication that way. And there's a lot of people now that don't carve in a carving club, so we're looking at other ways to try to reach out and reach that part of the carving community, maybe that's not in a club, and still have the resource and that kind of thing. So.
Well, and I will say, if I hear of somebody that's looking for a club, that's the first place I send them is to go to Chip Chats and try to, because it seems to be the most comprehensive listing of clubs that are out there. So I appreciate you all doing that.
Yeah, no, that is a good resource. You know, there's a couple of people on the board that's almost all they do is they contact clubs, update the information, try to, you know, post new ones. So yeah, if somebody's looking for a club, you can search by state and yeah, it's a great resource for that. There's also a part on the website for instructors. So if people that have classes or available to do classes, you can put your information out there. And that's another resource if a carver's looking for a particular style or location, you know, to the place. So that's the goal. Be a good resource. So.
Barry, I got in really late, just a few minutes ago, and I missed the whole conversation. But I have started a club in central Kansas, and we just started a meeting about 5 weeks ago, and we're meeting every week. We've got about 8 guys showing up so far. Is that something I should get my information into Chip Chats? I'm not on Facebook, but what should I that promoted?
Yeah, if you go out to it's chipchats.org and the website, there's a place where you can actually give them the information. There's a couple of people that keep track of the website, and then they can put it on there so as a resource for other people. So where are you in Kansas?
We're in Hutchinson, Kansas, which is about 40 miles northwest of Wichita.
Yeah,
and senior carving club, but you got to be 60 to get in it. We got about 20 in that. So I wanted to open something up to central Kansas. We're called the Central Kansas Knotheads, and for probably good reason, but we've got women and men coming and a couple of younger people. So I just want to get it promoted a little bit.
No, that's a good idea. I'm in Great Bend, so I'm only 60 miles from you. So
really?
Yeah.
I got it later.
Yeah, so no, that's good. Good, but that is a good resource, and it's a good place if people are either carvers looking to connect or clubs. You know, it's just a good, and that's the goal, is just to be the resource. So
Sure.
Good luck with that. So.
I'll get in touch with you later and we'll talk.
Yeah, I'll be in Hutch next week on Wednesday, carving at the fair. So.
Okay, I've got a couple of canes in there.
All right.
All right. I don't see any other questions in the chat. Dale Green did just remind me that Helvey will be at the show next weekend. So if you are looking to try to get a Helvey knife and you haven't been able to get one, come to Colorado Springs. Rich and Holly both will be there. I talked to Rich this morning on the phone, and he said that they're making knives as fast as they can make them. And, you know, they're going to have a table full out there, guarantee it. So if you're coming to the show, plan on picking up a knife from Rich and Holly. You know, Holly's been going through the medical condition, and, you know, she'll appreciate the encouragement and stuff too. And I think it's going to be good for her to get out of the house and get out and see some wood carvers. That's kind of what she thrives on. So look forward to seeing them out there. Barry, I just want to say thank you for coming on. It's been a great meeting. I appreciate you sharing your information, and look forward to seeing you next weekend for sure on Saturday at the show. I'll go ahead and call the auction. I'm not sure who it is. It's listed as iPhone. If your screen name is iPhone and you bid on the knife, please stay on. Dave, make sure you don't take them off. It's John Stewart. So John, if you'll stay on, we appreciate that. And we'll get your information and get all that out to you. Just want to remind you all, next weekend, we're going to be live streaming at the CCA show. We're going to be live streaming the demonstrations with PJ Driscoll, Bob Hershey, Chris Hammock, the whittling competition. The times are noon and 3 p.m. on Saturday, 11 a.m. and 1 o'clock on Sunday. That's Mountain Time. So again, we'll be out there in Colorado Springs. So those times are Mountain. Watch social media. I'll put all that stuff out there. Make sure it's on the Facebook pages. All the places where I share this meeting, I'll also put that stuff out there about the Carving the Rocky show. Really look forward to seeing you all out there. Make sure you come by, introduce yourself, say hello. Dave and I will be out there. We'll be happy to talk to you. So I look forward to seeing you out there. Again, this has been the International Association of Woodcarvers, where woodcarvers help woodcarvers. Our next meeting on here will be with Mr. Dave Stetson. That'll be September the 21st. And he'll be doing a demonstration about his flying witch class that's coming up. So make sure you join us on that day and go out on Woodcarving Academy, check out the workshops and get signed up for some of those. You'll be happy that you do. So thank you all for joining us today. It's been the International Association of Woodcarvers, and I'll see you all on the 21st. Thank you all.
What you'll do is you'll introduce yourself, introduce, if you want to introduce the, I can't even talk right now. If you want to introduce yourself, kind of if your Instagram handle or your Facebook or your the show coming up, with that, say I'm Barry with this, and all you have to say is then welcome to the International Association of Woodcarvers.
Okay.
And so it's a mouthful. If you want to write it down, you may, because
That's a good idea. Yeah.
sometimes we flip words around, and we're the International Woodcarvers Association of, and sometimes we're Woodcarvers of International, and sometimes,
Who does that, Dave? I don't know who does that.
I never do that. You don't do it either. I think it's people we have come on and visit with us.
It
No.
must be, yeah. I don't know.
It's others. So yeah, and we'll do as many takes as you want. If you mess up, it's okay. I'll add it as bloopers at the end. If you're doing too good, I might mess you up. No, I'm just kidding. But we're recording now. So whenever you want to go, if you want to run through it a few times, go ahead and say, hey, is this all right? That's okay too. So I'm going to give it over to you, and I'm going to shut up.
All right.
He don't need but one take.
Man,
That's all he needs.
geez, that was all right.
My man's a professional.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
job.
Well, that's because I had a note.
Like, man, you wrote it down. I shouldn't have told you to write it down.
That's
what
right. Exactly.
Man, what was I
Yeah.
thinking?
Hey, guys. For
Just a
today,
second, Dave. I'm going to cut you off for half a second, Dave. I lost your image. So hold on. Let me get you on here. And Blake,
Are
if
you
got
ready?
Dave, go ahead. If you got Blake, Dave, go ahead and put him on there, because I'm running through and I can't see on the thing.
Oh yeah, I got him right here.
Okay, cool.
are you ready?
We'll tell you in a sec, Dave. Come on, man. No.
We're ready now.
Hey, you are.
Now we're ready.
It's the remote thing,
Yeah.
Hey,